What's new? Ramping up to reopen. The governor lays out his plan.
Unfortunately, there will be some casualties in the business, and with every week that goes on, I think that number unfortunately will increase.
And we have a staggering new picture at the reality of just how hard the coronavirus has hit restaurants and what some are doing to survive.
Also, a new type of antibody research is underway. How the Cleveland Indians are playing ball.
And parental guilt. Right now, we are doing it all, and it may seem like the world is completely spinning out of control. We have some ways on how to slow things down and help you stay grounded. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hello again, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for What's New. I certainly hope you're having a terrific Thursday. From my man cave at home, I'm Jay Crawford, Betsy Kling back at the WKYC studios, and she starts us out with our top 3 coronavirus headlines. Betsy, hello, good day to you.
Hi there, Jay. Happy Thursday to you. Let's get everybody caught up on the latest coronavirus headlines. The Cuyahoga County Jail now confirms 25 inmates have tested positive for COVID-19. The jail's number of confirmed cases has tripled in the past 2 weeks, largely due to the close proximity, so experts say. The Federal Small Business Administration said this morning that it has run out of money for its Paycheck Protection Program. That program is designed to help businesses cover expenses during the coronavirus pandemic. And some good news for local public transit. RTA is set to receive $111 million in federal funds as part of coronavirus relief. It comes to transit agencies across the country because of revenue drops as a result of social distancing and stay-at-home orders. Well, Governor Mike DeWine gave us news today that we have all been waiting for. He says we are now at the end of the beginning of our battle with coronavirus, and now it's time to look forward to moving to phase 2, restarting the economy. Monica Robbins has his timetable and what this could look like.
May 1st is the start date for the governor's economic restart plan, but don't think it's going to be business as usual. The first business to get back to somewhat normal, hospitals, so we can all get our health checks in. The second will likely be businesses that can implement safety protocols to keep both employees and customers safe. Think large manufacturing companies. The last to be phased in, those big, large gatherings like those Rolling Stones tickets you had, you might need to wait a while. The governor and his economic advisors are taking guidance from those essential businesses that were permitted to stay open. Think about what grocery stores did about mandating the 6-foot rule and putting up plexiglass.
We must get this right because the stakes are very high. If we don't do it right, the consequences are horrendous.
So this new normal will be normal for the foreseeable future until we get a vaccine. So masks and social distancing will remain. And those businesses that do get to open, well, they'll be monitored to see if there's an increase in COVID cases. And if there is, plans will have to be adjusted. So keep doing what you're doing. Wear your mask in public, maintain your social distance of 6 feet, and wash your hands. And you know we will get through this together. Monica Robbins, 3 News.
All right, Monica, thank you very much. That certainly is terrific news. In the meantime, state leaders are asking you to keep doing what you're doing. That's so important, and that includes wearing a mask. Laura Queso has more from the governor's press briefing.
State leaders say masks are going to be part of our daily routine until a vaccine gets here. So while the big news about moving forward and onto the next phase is huge and welcome news for so many, life will look a lot different until then and even after. There are things you can do as we go through the next phase to make sure we do well. Dr. Amy Acton says that includes great hygiene, hand washing, and yes, wearing your mask.
Now, again, it will become a new part of our lives, just like taking off our shoes is to go through an airport. It will become using this mask. Do not underestimate donning your mask and donning your cape. I still very much need you to keep doing this and doing it better than ever.
This is going to be part of what we do, at least until, we're done with the virus in a year or so. So I would strongly suggest that, and I think that is the right thing to do.
Governor Mike DeWine could not say whether or not governors from surrounding states are following that same plan surrounding May 1st, but he did say he continues to talk with them and learn from them as we continue to move forward. Laura Queso, 3 News.
Well, takeout may not be enough to save some of your favorite restaurants. Mark Namick takes a look at which are being hit the hardest and what others are doing to survive.
Ohio restaurants, the first businesses shuttered by the coronavirus and the stay-at-home orders that followed. The economic impact is staggering according to new figures. Ohio's 23,000 plus restaurants are limited to carry-out and delivery service under an order from the Ohio Department of Health that continues until May 1st. That's left just about 50% of the state's restaurants even open right now, says the Ohio Restaurant Association. Fine dining establishments taking the biggest hit, down 90% compared to last year. More casual places, such as your favorite wing restaurant, off 75%. Restaurants already partnering with food delivery services or that quickly retooled a menu for takeout are doing better.
Unfortunately, there will be some casualties in the business, and with every week that goes on, I think that number unfortunately will increase. We made a strong pivot towards, hey, what's the new business plan today? Let's get out there and save jobs. And I got to tell you, we did have to lay off people, but we've tried to support them as much as we can with resources and information on how they can get some support.
The Ohio Restaurant Association is encouraging businesses and their laid-off employees to go to their website to find resources. And customers who want to help their favorite server can find ways to contribute there. Mark Namick, 3 News.
Mark, thank you very much. This is an interesting story from Major League Baseball. The Cleveland Indians are among the 27 of 30 Major League Baseball teams taking part in a nationwide study to detect COVID-19 antibodies. Here's the way it works. Obviously, antibodies are produced by your body. It's how your immune system fights off infection. If COVID-19 antibodies are found, it likely means that the person tested was at one time infected with the virus and just didn't show symptoms. Up to 10,000 people are involved in this Major League Baseball study, and the goal here is to be able to provide important information about infection rate of coronavirus. And Betsy, this is a fascinating study. It really is. Basically, here's how it works. They're trying to figure out what that real number is of cases, what the percentage of our society was infected. So they're taking a very large subset of our society, Major League Baseball, 10,000 people, everybody from GMs to hot dog vendors, of course, the players, all will be tested. It's a very large and it's a very diverse group. The way that works is they can then take that information, and because that sample size is so large, they can basically extrapolate that onto general society. So for instance, if they find that 40% of the 10,000 people have the antibodies, then it's likely that 40% of the 10,000 were at one point infected. You then can transfer that number to the general population. 40% is just my guess. It's just a number. There's no science behind it. I'm just using that as an example. But it is really interesting that they're using Major League Baseball to try to get to these numbers. Really interesting, and I'm fascinated to see how the results turn out.
Well, certainly knowing the numbers has been such a huge question mark in this entire pandemic because the testing is lacking, but hopefully this will give a little bit more of an indication as to those unknown cases, those people who have it but don't realize it. Thanks so much,
That is the
Jake.
hope.
Appreciate that. Well, we want to get you caught up on the other headlines making news today, and for that we turn to Russ Mitchell back at the news desk. Howdy, Russ.
Hey, howdy, Betsy. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to you at home. More stunning numbers on the economy today. About 5 million more Americans sought unemployment benefits last week. In the last month, that adds up to 22 million. In Ohio specifically, unemployment claims now top 850,000. Actor Brian Dennehy has died. The Tony Award and Golden Globe winner was perhaps best known for his roles in the films Cocoon, Legal Eagles, and Silverado. On stage, he won praise for his work in plays by Shakespeare and in Death of a Salesman, as you saw him there, 12 Angry Men. Brian Dennehy was 81 years old. And it was another packed day at the Greater Cleveland Food Bank's drive-through distribution. Car after car came through the Muni lot to pick up fresh produce and non-perishable items. More and more of that taking place. A lot of folks doing some good stuff out there, Betsy.
Definitely. And we have some more opportunities for some folks to do some good stuff out there. What would you do with 300,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies? I mean, I would put a dent in them.
I'd be eating for days. That's what I'd be doing, Betsy.
For days, right? Well, believe it or not, our local Girl Scouts have about 300,000 boxes on hand, and that's all part of this annual cookie sale that came right as the coronavirus hit Northeast Ohio. It's left a lot of leftover do-si-dos and a few worried families. We reached out to the local CEO of the Girl Scouts today, and she says parents and troops don't need to worry. The local chapter is coming up with unique ways to get the Thin Mints and Samoas into the right hands.
We've had a lot of people do a lot of different things this year in order to move the cookies that are there. We're going to work through this together. We don't want any individual family or anybody to be paying for this out of their pocket. We don't want to bankrupt any troops.
All right, this has been a work from home kind of a thing from the start, but they're going high tech now because they're turning to digital sales, and they've even partnered with the state to provide cookies to truckers. They've also started a cookie relief fund. This is where you come in. Folks can donate money, and the cookies will be sent to first responders. Yes, that's a great idea. It's easy to help. You can go online to GSNEO. Think Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio.com, GSNEO.com. Buy some cookies for some firefighters and police officers and paramedics and nurses and doctors. It just doesn't get better than that. Jay, the good news is you can have cookies mailed to your house. And nice. You can also decorate them too. There you go.
I've got a plan. I'll take 150,000. You can take 150,000. Problem solved. And we'll be in Girl Scout cookies for the rest of our lives.
You're going to have a lot of happy firefighters and police officers and nurses and doctors and you name it all across Northeast Ohio.
You aren't kidding. Well, Betsy, our new normal includes making sure whenever we are around people that we're at least the standard 6 feet apart. In fact, in the few times that I have been around anyone else over the past month, I find myself doing it, kind of checking mentally, am I at least 6 feet away from this person? Well, a guy from a Dayton suburb has a pretty creative way making sure he's at least the 6 feet he needs to be away from everyone else. His name is Chris Maggart, and to make his pickup when he orders food, he says he has a foolproof way to keep that 6 foot distance. He carries a shovel. And he even uses a tape measure to be sure that he's 6 feet away when he slides that shovel over to pick up his order. Then the restaurants just stack the order onto the end of the shovel, and he pulls it in towards him. While it seems silly, he is taking that 6 foot rule seriously, and that's the whole point. We're all supposed to do that. He came up with the idea of picking up a pizza one day, and now he's been using it ever since.
I pull out my measuring tape. I said, 6 foot, Greenlee, 6 foot. You gotta stay 6 foot. I said, I need a shovel. I'll keep my 6 foot.
All right, very good. And while that's fine, I did see a picture the other day. I saw it on social media somewhere of the guy I call the social distance captain of the world. He was at a Lowe's home improvement store. You may have seen this. It made the rounds. He actually built a social distancing hat made out of pool noodles. This guy's making sure no one is coming within 6 feet of him. I absolutely love that. I think he should market the idea. A sign of the times. Still to come on What's New. We tried to run it yesterday, but it got bumped because of the president's news briefing, but we're running this puppy today. Mike Polk's chance at a do-over for his senior picture many years ago. If you need a good laugh, I promise you this will do it. Stephanie, what's clicking in Cleveland today?
Jay, I know you love your TikTok. Today we're checking out the whipped coffee trend off the app and showing everyone at home how you can make it too. Now let's head to the home of Matt Wentz, who will give us a preview of what is coming up with the weather. Hi, Matt.
Well, thanks a lot, Stephanie. A lot going on in the weather world across Northeast Ohio. We had some snow in the snow belt this morning. Now we're watching an area off to the west. This is our next snow. This will head in overnight tonight and especially on your Friday. We've got the latest snowfall forecasts coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you've probably seen all the people sharing their senior pictures. The whole idea behind it is to show support for this year's senior class who basically ended up missing the second half of their senior year. I'm not quite sure how that shows support, but that's neither here nor there. Anyhow, after looking back at his old senior picture, our Mike Polk decided he would love to have a mulligan, a do-over. Here's your daily belly laugh, courtesy of Mike Polk.
Hey folks, you might have noticed a lot of people's senior pictures popping up on Facebook lately. It's part of a trend that's supposed to be a tribute to the class of 2020, who is unfortunately forced to spend the end of their high school career at home. Frankly, I question how uplifting that gesture will be to these seniors. It's sort of like if a kid's trip to Disney World got canceled, and to try to make him feel better, you sent him a bunch of pictures of yourself having fun at Disney World. But I do like seeing people's senior pictures, especially these ones that I found of my colleagues at 3 News.
High school dreams, a moment in time that is captured in me, becoming the person I'm destined to be in my dreams, talking about high school dreams. It turns out the Dave looked like this then, and Sarah was out of my league, and Jay went to school in the 1940s. I guess Michael played in the band. But can we talk about Betsy Kling? She was living her high school dreams.
I really shouldn't throw stones, though. I've never cared for my senior picture. Not sure what I was going for there, and I don't know why I'm sitting like a youth pastor trying to seem hip. My favorite kind of senior pictures are those ones where a dude's like leaning up against his hot car and he's got like a football and some drumsticks to show you what his activities are in high school. Yeah, I wish I would have done that. But hey, what's stopping me? It's never too late. Let's do it. All right, so I think I got everything here I wanted. Got my friend Dan's hot car. All my favorite activities are represented. Took an online class in martial arts in high school. Majored in nunchucks. All right, let's take the picture that I always wanted.
Oh my goodness, Mike, thank you so much for that. It's always fun and scary to look back at the senior pictures. Okay, so we've got to talk. Betsy there on the left, loved the perm, very hip. I'm sure it was the rage back then. Matt has some answering to do about the frosted tips. And that's not really my high school picture, my senior picture. That was a picture from my yearbook there, me on the right, apparently being locked into school for the weekend. Let's just say I had a detention or two in my time. Matt Wentz joining us now for the weather. So Matt, what's the story behind the frosted tips? What's going on there?
All right, let's get to the forecast, Jay.
That was a good look. I mean,
there was
a moment in time where that was big.
It was during the NSYNC and Backstreet Boys era. And, I wanted to be one of them so bad. I thought I would get all the girls, and I ended up single and not in a boy band. But you know what? It all happens.
You got the coolest job of all of them
right now. Yeah, I'll tell you what,
Your
that's
weather
right.
word for the
that's
day,
right. A meteorologist.
Frosted.
Fantastic. Well, that'll be pretty easy given the weather that we've got coming our way, Jay. So here we go. Let's jump into the forecast. The radar today, we mentioned yesterday there was a little low bit energy moving through. Might bring a few flurries or rain showers. That's exactly what we have going on. Geauga County right now, a couple snow showers mixed with some raindrops. Not much consequence to these compared to what we had last night, right? Couple inches of lake effect snow. This system heading on out, just an area of energy in the atmosphere, but off to the west, that's our system that arrives tonight on into your Friday, and that will bring accumulating snow to portions of northeast Ohio. You can see advance of that. The Weather Service is issuing winter storm warnings across Illinois and Iowa. Winter weather advisories now stretching into the western half of our viewing area. That may be extended off to the east here over the next couple hours. We'll have to wait and see. But bottom line, we've got a snowy scene setting in as we go throughout the overnight and especially tomorrow. So let's get to it hour by hour with your National Design Mart forecast. You can see clearing skies tonight for most of us, but then those clouds fill back in by tomorrow morning. And eventually we'll see a little bit of snow working its way from west to east throughout the area as we go throughout the morning. That will be with us midday. The thing you have to keep an eye on with these April snows is we tend to get some heavier snowfall rates. There's a little bit more instability. There's also more moisture. So this could come down pretty good for a time during the daytime tomorrow. And by the evening, I think most of us are going to have a pretty frosted look to the area as we bring in some of that snow. It may start to mix with some rain down to the south as well. It will be warmer on the backside of the system, so it's going to be kind of gloppy, just slip-sloppy around. I just made up 8 Dr. Seuss words, but that'll be the case as we go into the evening hours. In terms of accumulation, it will be daytime, but I think if we can overcome that with some higher snowfall rates, mainly grassy and elevated surfaces, should see the brunt of that. Look at this. By Saturday, we're clearing things out. So how much snow? We've stuck with this forecast all week long. You can see things have shifted a little bit further north, but I think a general 1 to 3 inches, maybe an isolated 4 out of this, but keep in mind, some of that's going to melt with the warmer ground that we have. Going back in time, if we can get over 2.5 inches of snow at Hopkins, it will be one of the biggest late season snowfalls that we've had. And you can see we usually don't get big snows this time of year. It's usually on the lesser scale. So we'll see what happens. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. Look at the recovery after tomorrow. We're well into the 50s this weekend, and we stay spring-like as we go into next week. So nothing but good things. This may even be our last snow this season. We'll have to wait and see. We'll be back with more What's Next coming up.
Well, I think a lot of folks have been doing some searching online trying to find out what they want to do when they're finally allowed to do something, which of course would bring in clicking in Cleveland. Stephanie Haney has been keeping a close eye on that. So Stephanie, what has been clicking in Cleveland today?
Hey, Betsy. Well, you know, people are anxiously awaiting for things to reopen around the country. Like you said, here in Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine has asked businesses to put a plan in place for when that time comes. And Starbucks has a plan. This plan is being called the Monitor and Adapt phase. And so since late March, the coffee shops have been limited to contactless delivery and drive-through service where that's available. But the third step is reopening its indoor area for to-go customers. And we're learning now that that will happen on a case-by-case basis. Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson said in a letter today that they will try to exceed local, state, and national health requirements in making that call, and that this plan for the U.S. stores is based off of experience in the Chinese market, where Starbucks says about 90% of their stores have already reopened. Speaking of coffee, you have probably seen that fancy whipped coffee drink on your social media, and if you haven't been spending all your time on TikTok like me, you might not know how to do it. So here is how you can do it yourself. These are the things that you're gonna need to do it. You need a mixing bowl, something to whip it with, and then you need instant coffee, sugar, hot water, cream, and milk. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 tablespoons of each of those ingredients, the instant coffee, the sugar, and the hot water, and you're gonna combine it together, and then you are gonna mix your little heart out. This is sped up. You're gonna spend a lot of time mixing. It's better if you have a mixer, by the way, other than a fork. Then you put in your ice, you put in your creamer, your milk, and then you top your whipped topping on the top, and then it's done. And I have one right here that I've made, and I decided to use decaf and almond milk because secretly I'm a 90-year-old and I don't do caffeine very well, but you can use whatever you want. You can use regular if you want. And Betsy, it's really good, but I will tell you this, get a straw, because I don't know if you can really tell, but this is very thick, this whipped topping. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good stuff,
I've seen some other folks online who have said they have tried this with the caffeine and they got a lot done during the day. So a hearty buzz with those 2 tablespoons of instant coffee. Well, drink up and enjoy, Stephanie. We'll be back with you in just a little bit.
Thank you.
There's plenty more What's New straight ahead at 5:30, like how to deal with that guilt that us parents have been dealing with, if you've been dealing with it, and trying to cram everything in your life under one roof. And how Kelly Clarkson is not letting quarantine stop the beat for her. The message in new music from the beloved voice judge.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And welcome back to What's New with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. Betsy, we do it every day. We start the second half hour with a feel-good story. So what do you got today?
Well, the United Way and Lake Tran teamed up today to distribute food to the needy. This giveaway was a little different. It focused on seniors in Lake County who may have a hard time getting out to the grocery store. So volunteers packaged and loaded groceries into Lake Tran buses this morning and delivered the items to about 500 homebound seniors. Donations from the community and several groups made this all possible.
Well, that is a good story. There are many in need of our help at this time. All right, our top 3 coronavirus headlines at this hour. New numbers today in Ohio. The state's total number of confirmed cases is now up to 8,414. Currently, we have 2,331 hospitalizations. That number of cases, that's the total number of cases since the outbreak began. Overseas, the United Kingdom is extending its coronavirus lockdown for at least another 3 weeks. That nation's death toll is rapidly approaching 14,000 despite even more restrictions than we have in place here in the United States. And boy, is this good news. Sports fans looking for your fix, how about this? The PGA has announced that it plans to get back to action targeting June 11th for its return. It will be without spectators, but at least you'll have golf to watch on TV, any sports to watch on TV. When they return, if it is in fact June 11th, it will mark 3 months to the day since golf took its coronavirus hiatus. Betsy?
Thank goodness my nap schedule can get back on now. Woo, thankfully. Well, chances are you're working from home and the kids are learning from home. Everybody is home, all together. And it is a big balancing act that leaves a whole lot of parents feeling like they just aren't giving enough attention to everybody and any one thing in particular. You're just all over the place. Well, we reached out to a doctor for some advice, and he says chances are you are doing just fine. And a lot of that parent guilt is completely within your own head.
The mindset of I'm doing the best that I can given circumstances that there's no blueprint for. I think making sure that you monitor your self-talk, make sure that you're thinking positively about the situation as best that you can, and trying to prioritize gratitude because it's very easy to focus on the negative currently.
I'm telling you, sitting down and doing Legos with a 5-year-old is awesome. That's a really good thing to do. Well, he also says staying off social media, believe it or not, or any media for that matter, could probably be good too, so you're not comparing to what others are doing. We also talked with him about keeping the peace with every family member under the roof. Good luck.
It's the idea of how to prioritize self-care without guilt, because this is a lot of family time, perhaps more than we're used to having consecutively. And so I think it's important to really prioritize our emotional well-being as parents without a sense of guilt, because ultimately we're going to be better parents the better that we take care of ourselves. I'm really promoting the idea of having fun, given the circumstances that we're in. Try and get creative, try and engage in fun activities with your kids. I think they'll be very receptive to it, and it'll also help your mental well-being.
That's right. So take a deep breath, everybody. He also suggests that you just kind of try and keep things as normal as possible, meaning chores and all that good stuff, to keep everything under control. I will tell you this. I'm slightly disappointed that he did not mention bribing your children, because I've been doing that a lot. My kids' summer is stacked once we're finally allowed to go and do something for us.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't mention that as well, because that always works.
Oh, man, I'm going to be broke, but we're going to be outside doing something fun, I guarantee you. What else has been going on around the world?
All right, Betsy, here are the headlines. China is pushing back on the idea that the coronavirus originated in a research lab in the city of Wuhan. The Chinese Foreign Ministry and the World Health Organization have repeatedly said there is no evidence of that. Chinese health officials say the question of the origin of the virus is scientific and should be dealt with by scientists and medical experts, not politicians. One Northeast Ohio business says it is not waiting for the governor's permission to reopen. Bill Bader Jr., the owner of Summit Motorsports in Norwalk, announced on social media that his company is starving financially. The actual opening date has not yet been announced. We will hear from Bader tonight at 6 o'clock. And boxes upon boxes of food items and fresh fruits and vegetables were given away today on Cleveland's east side. The Garden Valley Neighborhood House held a drive-through food bank today. And again, as we talked about, a lot of good stuff going on. I know you've mentioned this a couple times, Betsy. The President of the United States expected to give his daily briefing tonight at 6 o'clock. We'll be around for that.
All right, we definitely will keep an eye out. Thanks a lot, Russ. Appreciate it. We'll see you a little bit. Jay?
Betsy, it's time again for our daily check of what's new in the entertainment world. We have some new music by Kelly Clarkson, and what Khloe Kardashian is now saying scares her the most when it comes to her ex, Tristan Thompson. Here's Steph with our daily pop break.
Quarantine or no quarantine, Kelly Clarkson went ahead and dropped her new single, I Dare You, today.
There's a wolf that preys on a world that strays so far from the garden.
Named for daring people to love and not hate, she says she's been working on it for about a year and a half and kept today's planned premiere date because the timing felt so right with the message.
I thought it was kind of globally connecting, and I wanted to do that musically. And then all this happened, and we became extremely connected globally.
She's not kidding. She performs it in 6 different languages. Bachelor star Nick Viall has a new episode of Hangin' With Me on IGTV, and this time his many personalities have a Zoom date.
What's up? What's his deal? He's got a date.
Nick has been making these clone videos just like our very own Austin Love, and this one jokes about what to wear on a modern-day quarantine date. He settles on a very unique look. In earlier installments, Nick wakes up to find one of his other selves cut their hair, and they all get down with a dance party. Pretty funny stuff. And Khloe Kardashian has a big dilemma on tonight's Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she talks with mom Kris Jenner about how to handle co-parenting. Apparently, Khloe and ex Tristan Thompson, who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, were having a hard time figuring out how he would see his daughter during the basketball season.
I really have not put much thought into how True is going to visit Tristan in Cleveland. I just kind of been avoiding having this conversation.
Since the NBA season is on hold like everything else because of the coronavirus, it looks like she can keep avoiding that talk, at least for now. True just turned 2 on Sunday, so one of the things that Khloe was really worried about was maybe having to send her to Cleveland on her own at such a young age. And it's really a very different situation than her sister Courtney and her ex Scott Disick, who managed to co-parent, but they're basically neighbors, Jay. But Khloe has always said that Tristan is a very good father, so they are making it work.
Everyone seems to have exes on that show. Is anybody still married?
Yeah. Kim and Kanye, they're doing okay.
And who would have thought, right? All right, Steph, thank you very much. Next, from opening day starter to stuck at home, how Shane Bieber is dealing with this impromptu pause from baseball. And Matt, how's the weather looking?
Well, hi there, Jay. Hi there, everybody. A little bit of snow for some of you this morning. We've got more of it developing off to the west. This one's going to add up a little bit more than some of our snowfall totals this morning. This heads east over the next 24 hours. We've got your latest hour-by-hour forecast coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. April is just not the same without baseball. Just ask Indians pitcher Shane Bieber. He was supposed to be the opening day starter this year, and now he's sitting at home. Jim Donovan got a chance to talk to Bieber about baseball, life, and a cause close to his heart.
Indians pitcher Shane Bieber joins us tonight, and it's great to see you, Shane. How are you doing as we all kind of sit this whole thing out? How's it going?
All right, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I hope you are too. This is obviously a crazy time, just making the most of the situation we're put in right now.
Yeah, we certainly miss baseball back here in Cleveland, and and I know you miss it, and everybody misses it, especially those guys that were getting ready. That had to be a surreal situation. You were well along in training camp, designated to be the starting pitcher on opening day, which is an incredible honor. And then suddenly, and it will happen, I know, but then suddenly we kind of shut everything down. What was that like?
I know, it's crazy. It was just one day would just shut it down. Everything's on halt. I feel like a lot of players are feeling like lost puppies right now. Normally we know exactly where we're going, exactly, what date to be ready, and then going from there, and everything's scheduled out, and we kind of have everything set up for us in a sense. So not really kind of being in limbo, which, everybody's really dealing with right now, no matter what job you're in, is a different feeling, and just getting used to that has been an experience. That's for sure.
Well, tonight we're doing a great thing, and the Indians are a big, big part of this. We're helping to raise money for the Boys and Girls Clubs in Northeast Ohio, because right now, Shane, the doors to those clubs are closed. And we want to make sure on the other side of this that those doors reopen with full staff, and that the programs will all be available for kids. And it's really great that the Indians are a part of this. Yeah, so MLB, the Indians, they've partnered with Boys and Girls Clubs of Cleveland for a long, long time. And their partnership is extremely important to, not only those involved, but the players as well. So there's so many good things that go into it. And this is obviously, we were just touching on it. It's a crazy, unprecedented situation. Well, how about this, Shane? I mean, the numbers are really dramatic. Over 8,600 kids in Northeast Ohio are a part of the Boys and Girls Clubs. It's amazing. That's something I am looking forward to getting more and more involved in throughout my years as a Cleveland Indian. I know I've only been up for a year and a half, but it feels like I've connected with the city for much longer than that. So it's an opportunity that I'm really looking forward to. And like you just said, there's so many people that can be impacted by the goodness of just the Boys and Girls Club all around the country, but especially in Northeast Ohio. Do you ever reflect back on that amazing night in that ballpark when, with all the stars of the game, you had that dream inning that you just blew the place away? Yeah, it was an incredible moment. I've said this before, but I really do mean it. I was just hoping to get out of that inning clean. Like, I don't care where the ball's hit. Just hit it to Frankie 3 times at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I don't care. Just get me, obviously I was enjoying the moment and really reveling in that moment, but I also wanted to get off the mountain as soon as possible. So it's kind of funny. Well, listen, take care of yourself, and we really look forward to seeing you and your teammates and the entire Indians organization back up and doing what they do so well. And thanks so much for helping us out with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Ohio. Of course. Thanks so much for having me. I love to be a proponent for this, such a good organization, such a good fundraiser. So appreciate you guys having me on, and, be well, be safe.
All right, Shane, Jimmy, thank you very much. The big telethon special, Our Kids, Our Tribe, supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Ohio, is tonight. Some of your favorite faces of 3 News, as well as the Indians coming together. Carlos Carrasco and Terry Francona will be among those that you'll hear from tonight. Our digital coverage starting at 6:30 on WKYC.com, and then our live coverage on air at 7:30 right after Front Row.
Thank you so much, Jay. We appreciate that, certainly, and we're looking forward to it. Look at this little bit of Northeast Ohio. If that's not Northeast Ohio, I don't know what it is. An Indians ball cap on a snowman in April, because we can. As we're going to go to weather now, we had to show you this picture that was sent to us by Renee in Chesterland. Surprisingly, not so surprisingly, Geauga County, yes, Chesterland, that's where that is. But they were the only ones that got the snow this morning. There were many reports of snow all across Northeast Ohio, and there is still many more to come. And Matt, I feel like we have to have a discussion about hair at some point, whether it's your frosting or my naturally curly hair. Everybody thought it was a perm. That was natural curl. But I suppose we should probably just focus in on that snow that's coming.
We probably should, Betsy. We may be able to spin off another show called Whose Hair Is That? Or something like that. But, yours I thought looked great. You should bring that back. At least try it for maybe a week or so. See what happens with that. I think we've got something there. All right, let's talk about the snow here overnight tonight. We're not dealing with any snow whatsoever. The clouds are going to be increasing, though. We've got a cold night ahead, once again, as we'll drop back into the 30s. But you can see in advance of our weather system out in the plain states right now, we've got winter weather advisories in blue. We've got winter storm warnings in that pinkish color, as there are going to be some bullseyes with this system where they get 4 to 8 inches of snow. System now coming together. We've got an area of low pressure just west of Missouri there. You can see some of the heavier snow breaking out from Omaha. That will stretch into Des Moines, Cedar Rapids here over the next couple hours, but not arriving here until tomorrow morning. We'll take you hour by hour through that National Design Mart forecast. You can see skies even clear out temporarily tonight after a couple of those snow showers and rain showers we have here this evening. But it's going to be cold to start tomorrow, and that's key because that temperature is going to remain in the 30s for most of us as we go throughout the day. You can see 6 a.m. Those clouds have already increased, and that snow will overspread the area from west to east as we head throughout your Friday morning. I think by midday, late morning, midday is when we're all going to be locked into some pretty decent snowflakes all across northern Ohio, perhaps mixing with some rain. We'll have some warmer air working in down to the south. But this snow, as most April snows are, is going to come down pretty heavily. The reason why is because we've got more instability and more moisture this time of year as we're really starting to heat things up. So we could have some decent snowfall rates. The one thing on our side is it is going to be daytime. So despite the fact we'll have cloud cover, I think a lot of that will melt, especially on the pavement that we have, but elevated surfaces, we could definitely get some accumulation out of that. Towards the end of the event tomorrow evening, that's when we get warmer air in here, and eventually some of that will start to mix with rain. It'll just be kind of sloppy tomorrow evening. All of it's out of here by the time the weekend rolls around. It'll be like nothing happened around here. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast coming up after this graphic. You can see Big Spring Snows did a little research. If we get 2.5 inches or more, this will be one of the biggest late season spring snows that we've actually had. Here's the Universal Windows Direct forecast. 50s over the weekend, some shower chances on Sunday. Saturday looks great. And then next week we stay spring-like with temps in the 50s and even some 60s. We'll be back with more after the break.
A lot of people have been experimenting in the kitchen, and homemade pizza doesn't really have to be a headache to make it a crowd pleaser. Our food expert, Doug Tratner, is back with his Cook by the Numbers series. Today, 5 easy steps to the perfect pie.
Hello and welcome to my dining room, definitely not my kitchen. Today we're making pizza dough from scratch. It's super easy. I'll show you in 5 easy steps, maybe 6. Who's counting? I promise you don't have to do that. Let's get started. Okay, this is literally how easy it is. 1 cup warm water, 1 teaspoon yeast, 1 tablespoon honey or sugar. Let that go for 5 minutes. Tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of olive oil. I got about 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So we're just gonna pour it in, turn it on, and stir it. Okay, this came straight out of the mixer bowl, and I just shaped it into a ball, and it's going into an oiled bowl. Flip it around, just plain olive oil. I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap, put it in a warm spot to rise. I have a proofing setting on my oven, or you can just put it somewhere warm for 2 hours until it doubles in size. So now the fun part. This has just been resting again for about a half hour. It is so soft, baby soft. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to overwork it. I've got my oven preheated to the highest setting it has, which is 550 convection. With flour, cornmeal. You can also use just the back of a baking sheet. You do not. Once this is topped, you do not want to have to lift it again. Slide it around. Obviously when it comes to toppings, the sky's the limit. Okay, it's been in there for about 2 minutes. As you can see, it's golden brown. It's bubbling. It's hot. It's the hard part. Now the rough part. Eating.
Now I want pizza, and you may too. And if you do, we have the recipe at WKYC.com/Doug Tratner. Our video is coming up next. That's right, it's the one that's worth the watch. An extremely long odd, not for an unlikely friendship. We have a trick shot coming up.
And we wrap up our What's New show today with our Worth the Watch video. We're all looking for ways to pass the time right now. For my son Corey, who isn't able to train for the Olympics as a long jumper, he's been practicing his golf trick shots. One in particular took him some time, but this is something incredible. Watch. Yes, he did. Now, the reason I share this video, Corey's shots have encouraged others to try to top this video, including a 9-year-old named Aiden, who has replied on video with a few trick shots of his own. Watch.
Hey!
Here he is tossing two waffles into the toaster, right, Betsy? Very well done. They go right in. He shows off a few other trick shots. His mom actually tweeted saying that even though Aiden has never met Corey, he's enjoyed their friendly video trick shot competitions. It's actually made staying at home a little more bearable.
Definitely cool stuff. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with a Friday edition of What's New. Now, Laura and Russ started up with what matters most.